thing about Goblin is, it's not easy being green. So, hello, and in this video we're going to talk about Goblins Swicking Sword Vanguard. They are pretty similar to Kings of War actually, in that they're green, they're going to be cheap, there's going to be a lot of them, their nerve is probably their weakest point, but we shall see as we go on. So the Warband special ability is Flee, uses 1 power to use. When an enemy model declares the intention to engage a Goblin model, the Goblin model may elect to flee unless it is already activated, fatigued or engaged. If the Goblin elects to flee, it moves before and directly away from the enemy model as far as possible with a free walk action, and it is marked as fatigued. If the enemy model is no longer in reach of the Goblin to engage it, it may perform a walk action if it hasn't already. Then its activation is over. The special ability is not limited to once per round, so you can use them multiple times. It's a shame that the enemy can't redirect the charge, but you know, I suppose if it's making the preparations to charge the Goblin that's going to use Flee, then I suppose, yeah, run away. Oh, I can't reach now. The spells, we've got Slink, which is short, range 6, 1d8. Target a friendly Goblin model with a -1 modifier on the roll. If a hit is scored, instead of suffering a wound, the target model removes any activation counter on it and can be activated again this round in a later turn, which is nice. I think it's kind of like a it's kind of like the Basilian Abbess thing, once per game thing. I think it uses 2 power. That's not bad. That's not bad. Being it's short, you can then use another spell. That's not bad at all. Next is Shrivel, which is short, 9-inch range, 2d8. For each hit scored, the target suffers a -1 modifier to any melee or ranged attack it makes until the end of the round. That's not bad. There's a boosted version. Cast as long action instead. The spell rolls 3d8 rather than 2d8. So, that's okay for each hit scored. Okay, right. So that means if you get both hits through, it'd be -2. Ooh, and the booster version -3 if you're lucky. That's gonna be painful. So starting with the Grunts, starting with the Rabble, 8 points, 20mm base, speed 5, melee 5, range 7. Armour 5, Nervous 6, 1 wound, height 2. Sneaky and Swarm. 1d8 in melee, 1d8 in range. Can take a spear for a point. Makes it 9 points. I'd just keep them as cheap as possible if it was me. Their armour and melee is not bad. It's got Sneaky and Swarm, which is good if you take a lot of them, which kind of the idea. Nerve is a bit naff, but so Goblin was kind of expected. 1d8 in range and melee, a bit naff, but it's what you expect, to be honest. Next is the Spitter, 8 points, 20mm base, speed 5, melee 6, range 6, armour 6, nervous 6, 1 wound, height 2. 1d8 in melee, 2d8 in range. It's got bow, which is 12-inch range. I'd have thought it'd be a bit cheaper, to be honest, because the range stat is as bad as the Rabble, but everything else is worse as well. So yeah, I'd have thought it'd be at least a point or 2 cheaper, but hey, at least it's a cheap range unit you've got. Next we have the Warriors, starting with the Sneak, 13 points, 20mm base, speed 6, melee 6, range of 5, armor 5, nerve 6, 2 wounds, height 2. Pathfinder and Sneaky. 1d8 in melee, 2d8 at range. It's got throw knives which are 9-inch range. Also got smoke bombs. This model can always break away without having to make any armour rolls. This is an interesting one and can be pretty useful. If you want to get somewhere else or move around, use the smoke bombs and then maybe use throwing knives, which potentially is better because the range stat is better. You get 2d8 at range rather than 1d8. In melee, melee stats bad. I'd have thought it have stealth as well, but hey ho, that's just me. Next we have the Luggate. 12 points, 20mm base. Speed of 5, melee of 5, range of 6, armor 5, nerve of 6, 2 wounds, height 2. Crush strength 1, smash and sneaky. Melee 2d8, range 1d8. It's just basically a goblin that can hit things a bit better. Crush strength 1's always useful. Your main problem is your armor and, well, your nerve really is just cack. But you are a bit cheaper than most warriors with a bit of crushing strength to them, so it's kind of to be expected, I guess. Next we have the support, starting with the Moorbeast. 19 points, cavalry base. Speed 7, melee 5, no range stat, armor 6, nerve of 5, 2 wounds, height 2. It's got vicious, 3d8 in melee, none at range. Howl, which uses 1 power. Use when the model activates or after it has finished its actions. All friendly, non-fatigued and non-activated Moorbeasts within 6 inches of this model can immediately make a walk action directly towards this model without being marked as activated. An individual Moorbeast can only howl once per round. So you can do it multiple times, you just can't do it all the time. Which is a bit of a shame, but would make it really, really dangerous. I mean, what you could do, and this means you essentially want to do some group charges. Speed of 7, you're going to get some charging off pretty quickly. 6-inch towards this model without being marked as activated. So, yeah, you use the howl, and then if there's enough Moorbeasts, not Warbeasts, Moorbeasts, to just charge forward. You've got 3d8 vicious, hitting on 5s. It's not bad. Your main weakness is your armour is naff, however, but it's kind of a given. Next we have the Wingit. 28 points, 20mm base. Speed of 5, melee of 6, range of 5, armour of 6, nerve of 5, 2 wounds, height 2. Dodge and sneaky, which considering it's carrying a giant grenade around, I don't know how it can dodge, but hey ho. 1d8 in melee, 2d8 at range. Dodgy grenades needs you pay X number of power to use. Range 6, piercing X. Area of effect 2-inch /1d8 and piercing X. Okay, we'll see how this goes. Pay X power, so any number of power, to make a ranged attack with the dodgy grenades. Before the attack is made, roll the dice and add X to the result. On the result of 8 or more, the grenade explodes before being thrown. The Wingit suffers 1 automatic hit with piercing X and range attack fails. Otherwise, the attack proceeds as normal with piercing 1. Okay, this kind of suggests that you can put as much power as you want into it, but if you put too much into it, it goes off and the Wingit is going to get hurt. Range of 6. I'd have thought it had longer range than that, but so area of effect 2-inch, 1d8 piercing X. So everyone within 2-inch takes 1d8 with piercing, depending on the number of power you've used. I mean, you roll a dice and add the X to the result. So if you use 4 power, you roll a dice, you want a 3 or less for it not to explode. So to make sure, you probably only want to use 2 power at most. I won't use any more than 4. I think it's way too expensive. It's way too risky. It wants to be 20 points, I reckon, considering. The dodging grenade can be powerful, yes, but if you roll 8 or more, it's going to go off in its face. I'd want to see it being, and this is just me, 20 points. The reason being, the armour is naff. The dodgy grenades might go off in your own face, and you need power for it to be effective. If you don't use the power, it's just a bit meh. Otherwise, it's just throwing a dud grenade at you, which, is that really what you want or need? I don't think so. Next we have the Morpup Launcher, 32 points, 40mm base. Speed 5, melee 7, range 6, armour 6, nerve of 5, 3 wounds, height 2. 1d8 in melee, 1d8 at range. It's got Morpup Launcher, which is 18 range, 48, piercing 1, reload. Puppy Yelp, which is 1 power to use. Use this ability after a ranged attack using the Morpup Launcher has been resolved. Any friendly, non-fatigued and non-activated Moorbeast within 6 inch of the target can immediately make a walk action towards the target without being marked as activated. Also, if you've got enough Moorbeast nearby, you could potentially set up some group charges. Unless you're going to use a fair number of Moorbeasts. Well, no, actually, I can see the point of this. It's getting 48, piercing 1. Which is really powerful, but you are spending a fair number of points for it to be used, and its stats ain't great. Range to 6, so it's hitting 3 out of 8 times. I can see the point, but we'll see. Pup and Over. This model has the marksman special rule when making a ranged attack against a target that's within 9 inch of a friendly Wingit. So when we go on to the Wingit, I'll explain how that works. And there's some combo work with the Wingit. The Wingit is just a large, so doesn't use a support slot, which is a shame. Next is the Luggate. It's got little stars, so can only use one of these in your force. 23 points, 20mm base. Speed 6, melee 6, range 5, armour 6, nerve 4, 2 wounds, height 2. Dodge, scout, sneaky and stealthy. 2d8 in melee, 1d8 at range. Rabble Rouser. While within 6 inch of this model, friendly goblin models, not including the Luggate, have their nerve value improved by 1. The armour of goblins is naff, but their nerve isn't horrible. It's usually about 5, what we've seen so far, so that's not terrible. That ain't terrible. Crafty Tactics. Uses 1 power to use. Use this ability during any of your turns if this model is not fatigued. Spend the power to remove 1 fatigue counter from a friendly model within 6 inch of this model. This ability may be used once per round. Okay, that's not bad. You get rid of fatigue, which I can see using fatigue a lot on the goblins. But if you keep the Luggate around, this will essentially heal the fatigue off them. Use once per round, so you can't use it all the time, but you can use it. It's not a once per game thing, which is nice. It is expensive, but it is a pretty decent support unit. It's kind of like got a amazing inspiring, and because it's got dodge, sneaky and stealthy, it's going to be hard to hit at range. Nerve's not bad either. Nerve ain't bad either. You could give it a bow, I suppose. Range of 5. It's not terrible. But just be careful of maybe getting something to guard it, because it ain't gonna last around if you don't leave it unprotected, which you don't want to do. Next we have the Slagit. Oh no, Snagit. 18 points, 20mm base. Speed of 6, melee of 5, range of 6, armour of 5, nerve of 6, 2 wounds, height 2, pathfinder and sneaky. 2d8 in melee, 1d8 at range. It's got dastardly traps. As a short action, this model may place a 25mm trap marker anywhere within 6 inch of open ground or in difficult terrain, but not within 6 inch of another trap marker or 3 inch of an enemy model. You can find them in the terrain part of the Mantic website. They do make them, actually. When an enemy model moves within 3 inches of a trap marker, it immediately suffers 2d8 melee 5 plus attack with crush strength 1. So hits on 5s, 2d8 to use with crush strength 1. It's not bad. The target model is marked as fatigue if it suffers any wounds. The trap marker is then removed. A warband can have a maximum of 4 dastardly trap markers on the table at any time. So you could have the Snagit put 2 down in 1 turn. I don't see that being quite useful, but you know, depends on how you set things up. You could have the Snagit set 2 up around objectives. If you ain't going to get near objectives, you're going to make sure the enemy ain't going to get near objectives either. I think it's about right for the points cost, if I'm on it. Melee of 5, an armour of 5, which is a bit different to Goblins, a bit more armoured. Huh. Nerves horrible, but shame it's not got stealthy. I'd have thought it would have done, but Pathfinder's always good for terrain possibilities. I think it's right for its points cost. That dastardly trap is quite useful. I wouldn't have more than 2 Snagits, because if you can only have 4, then again, the trap marker is then removed, so you could potentially put a lot of traps down in a game if used right. Yeah, it's a really good unit, I think. Really good. Next we have the large, starting with the Troll. 34 points, 40mm base. Speed of 6, melee of 5, no range stat, armour 4, nerve of 4, 4 wounds, height 3. Crush strength 2, pound, regeneration 6 plus, 5d8 in melee, none at range. Vicious swipe, when attempting to break away from a troll, enemy models suffer a -1 modifier to their armour rolls. Troll's always been decent. It's a good smashing unit for close combat. It's got regenerate, it's got 5d8 in close combat. Stats are great. I think it's a little bit cheap for its points cost, if you're honest. I think it should be 40 points, to be honest. You might think that's a bit excessive, but it can regenerate wounds. It's got good armour, it's got good nerve, it's got 5d8 with crush strength 2. And it's not really a good idea to break away in close combat from it. It's just brilliant. Next we have the Wingit. 37 points, 50mm base. Speed 5, melee 8. Ooh, blimey. Range of 4, armour of 5, nerve of 5, 4 wounds, height 3. It's got fly. Though with a speed of 5, I'd have thought it had a better speed than 5, but hey ho. 1d8 in melee, 2d8 at range. It's got 5 bombs, which is 9 inch, piercing 2. It's got area effect within 2 inch, 2d8. So everyone within 2d8 of the target takes a 2 dice attack, which ain't bad. Eye in the sky. Friendly models, including the Wingit itself, making ranged attacks against enemy models that are within 9 inches of the Wingit, always have clear line of sight, unless line of sight is blocked. So I suppose that means if there's terrain in the way, if you're within 9 inches of the Wingit, the terrain doesn't matter. If there's kind of like a wall in the way, the Wingit's eye in the sky rule won't work. This could be good if you use a lot of spitters, have a lot of spitters nearby. Terrain's not going to be a problem. Yes, their hitting power ain't great, but at least you've got a bit of support there. Implaceable. This model cannot be knocked down for any reason and remains standing if any rule requires it to be knocked down. Oh right, because it's always flying about. Okay, I get it. It's a really good support unit. Its range is brilliant, quite honestly. Armor's not bad, but it's worse than the Troll. Nerve is worse than the Troll, but then again, it's the Goblins piloting it. It's not like a true mechanical object. It's just a flying thing made of wooden canvas. Do you want it in combat? No, of course you don't. Height of 3. I'd have thought it'd be a bit higher if I'm honest. Good support, good range. It's a good unit. But this is the thing. Do you want something that's really amazing in close combat? You go for the Troll. Do you want something with a good range attack? with some good support options, you go for the Wingit. It also depends on the size of the game, because for every 150 points you can only have one large. So for 300 points you can have two. So I suppose you could have one of each if you have 300 points. Or you could have two Wingits or two Trolls. Next we have the Spellcaster. It is the Wiz. 29 points, 20mm base. 1 red power dice. Speed of 5, melee of 6, range of 5, armor 6, nerve of 3. That's pretty good for a goblin. Wounds of 3, height 2. It gives inspiring. 1d8 in melee, 1d8 in range. It's got stun, which is short, zap, which is short. Cackle, uses 1 power to use. Use when the model activates. The model can cast the same spell twice in a turn if it has enough actions, which ain't bad. You could zap twice. Slink, which is short. If you get Cackle, if you use Cackle, you could slink twice. That's nice. Shrivel. You could shrivel twice. That's nice. Probably get rid of stun for one of the spells. Either get rid of both the spells for both the goblin spells, or get rid of stun for one of them, because that cackle thing, that cackle's really good. The stats aren't great apart from nerve. Nerve is amazing, gotta say. But for a wizard, it's not bad actually, points wise, and what spells it can have and what spells it's got. But yeah, it's not a bad spellcaster actually. Next we have the command, starting with the bigot. And no, that doesn't mean it hates people that's different to itself. It just means it's the biggest and gittiest of goblins. 32 points, 20mm base. Gives 2 red power dice. Ooh. Speed 5, melee of 4, range of 5, armour of 5, nerve 4, 3 wounds, height 2. Crushing strength 1, inspiring and sneaky. 3d8 in melee, 2d8 at range. No special rules, which is odd, but okay, whatever. It's a standard commander. Compared to other commanders it might seem a bit cheap, but I don't think it's too bad actually. 3d8 in melee, at least it gives 2d8 at range and range of 5, which ain't bad. Give it a bow if you want. Armour of 5, that's still not bad. Nerve of 4, which is great. At least it's got crushing strength on it, which helps somewhat. Next is the Stingit. 37 points, 20mm base. Gives 1 white power dice. Speed 6, melee 6, range of 4, armor 5, nerve 5, 3 wounds, height 2. Inspiring, sneaks only, which ain't bad. Scout, sneaky and stealthy. 3d8 in range, 2d8 in melee. It's got thrown knives, which are 9-inch range. Poison blades, which uses 1 power. Use this ability when this model makes a ranged attack with its throwing knives. The attack has the piercing 1 rule. That's not bad. Agile feint, uses 2 power to use. Use this ability after a model makes a melee attack and after any retaliation. Yeah, I did read that right. This model may make a free breakaway action. Okay, so this could mean you want to move away and then use the throwing knives, which if you've got enough power, combo with your poison blades and really do some damage potentially. Escape uses 2 power to use. The same as the flee warband ability, but may be used even if the model is already activated or fatigued. However, escape is limited to 1 use per round for this model. So okay, so yeah, which is a bit of a downside, but essentially you get 2 chances of using flee per round. You've got the normal flee and you've also got the escape. You do need a bit of power to use it, but you've got the options. It's alright if you've got a fair few sneaks in your warband, but other than that, it's a not bad ranged command. It's a bit naff for most other options. It's there for sneaking around, assassinating enemy models. You're going to have to support it a bit, otherwise it is going to be taken down pretty easily. That being said, Scout, Sneaky and Stealth helps for manoeuvrability and from defending from range attacks. But I suppose it's got some support for close combat attacks. It you're just going to have to be careful with it, because it will go down pretty easily if you aren't careful. Next we have Magua and Jews. It is, you can only have one of these in your army, in your warband should I say. 37 points, 50mm base. Speed gives 1 white power die. Speed 5, melee 5, no range stat, armor 4, nerve 5, sorry, 4 wounds, height 2. Crush strength 1, vicious, inspiring, to beasts only. Is the troll a beast? I don't think so, no. So only to more beasts. 3d8 in melee, none at range. Alpha Howl, which uses 2 power to use. This is group assault action. Magua and Jews must be the nominated group leader. All members of the group have the Bloodlust special rule until the end of the turn. No, that does not say only for more beasts. So, you could potentially use this on Luggates, on Snaggits, on potentially anyone, which ain't bad at all. Pack leader, you may take up to 2 additional war beasts in your warband beyond those normally allowed in your warband selection rules. So, if you take him, you still have to pay the points, but you're not taking up support slots for 2 more beasts, which ain't bad. It's not bad, this duo. It's just basically a giant more beast and a goblin with a Roman hat, a skirt, and a large pokey stick. It's not bad. It's not bad. Height 2 means you can hide it behind other things, though really, would you want to? You want to send it forward, crushing things and maybe using a bit of support. It's not bad command. It's just a shame you can only have one of these in your force, and being it's on a 50mm base, it's going to be a bit easy to charge, so just be careful of that. Their armour is, want of a better word, not great. The nerve is a bit below average, but that kind of to be expected. You've got some things to help out with there, and you've also got some abilities to move around and flee from combat. Your range support isn't bad, whether it's you use really cheap stuff or you go for the more exotic stuff. You've got a mix of everything. Like I say, your main downside is your armour ain't great, so you need a bit of compensation. Most stuff is pretty, I'd say pretty cheap, apart from 1 or 2 units, such as the Morpup is a bit expensive, but it's pretty good. You've also got the Luggate, which again ain't cheap, but is a really good support unit. And that's the thing, their support options are pretty brilliant actually. Their wizards are also really good, and that's the thing, your warriors and grunts are really cheap, so you can fill out your command, support and spellcaster options really quite effortlessly, and you've got tons of different builds you can go for. You could go for more beast builds, you could go for a fair bit of range build. There's a fair bit of range going on. You could go for support. I mean, with a range build, you'd have a Wingit or 2 in there, depending on the points of the game, of course. You could just go for a close combat build and have trolls as your main big thing. I mean, you could count the wizard as a kind of semi-support with the Shrivel spell, which is going to be really useful. So, that's it for this video. Goodbye for now.